Die! Wimp!
I don't know why, but something is wrong.
Rule Britannia!
The TV is crazy and the truth has gone. I might be crazy, but I think we're done. There are people out there who are adverse to fun.
Communism is king.
It's on your news. Even your neighbor has been here. You can see it on YouTube. It's time to shine a light. All the things they don't want you. Tom Generation Next. Oh, it's what's coming next. Tom Generation Next.
Commander Worf, don't be a cunt.
I'm having such a good time.
Kill everyone on the bridge.
Having a ball.
Fuck you, Mr. Rascal.
My name is Owen Jones, a renowned drama queen, pseudo-intellectual and champagne socialist.
That's for B4.
What can I do? People know the truth.
Shut the fuck up.
What's true? That's why we gotta shine a light. Oh, shine a light, shine a light. We gotta shine a light. Oh, yeah. Together forever. Yeah. Tom Generation Next. Oh, it's what's coming next. Tom Generation Next. Yeah. Tom Generation Next. The Unity Channel. Zero News and now. Tom Generation Next. We're gonna shine a light with you. Generation X.
Good day to ye. Good day to ye. I'm Tom Fury. This is Zero News. I don't know if we're going to get out today. It is a particularly bad signal spot and particularly bad day. Never mind. I'm going to do this anyway. Because I'm cool. A few years back, I don't know, maybe 5 years back now, I said to many people, friends, colleagues, many people, excuse me, in interviews, online, I said I felt like we were going through a cultural, at least a cultural revolution, if not a full revolution. And when I said it to them, a lot of people were like, nah, you're going a bit far there, Tom. Not really how it works. And I kind of took that, but it's a bit the same as the way when me and Vin and that were talking about Civil War. When we were talking about Civil War, we were saying everybody thinks it's good. So everybody thinks it'd be one side versus the other, two parties involved. Never occurs to anybody there could be 6 or 7 or 8 factions involved. Yeah, the same with revolution. Why does it have to be one side versus the other? What generally tends to signify revolution? It's the replacement of the elites, usually by new institutions and new elites. So they spent all these years pulling institutions down, but the irony is, what they don't know if they win is that they'll put new institutions in their place, even though they're against institutions, because humans need them, even though we don't realise it. So I said about revolution and cultural revolution back then, and I think what put people off the idea of it was, one, because it was coming from me. No, I'm joking. It was one because I think it was because, again, people got that one side versus the other in their head. Wait, car. They got one side versus the other in their head. And what I'm looking at is, okay, let's take an example. Let's just take our next election as an example. Should we get there? This is the first time in a very, very long time, maybe ever, or at least in our modern politics, see, that both of the main parties that have been gatekeeping power forever are on the verge, both of them. Hey, Sue, come here. Sorry about this. both of them are on the verge of losing the next election to other parties. That is exactly the sort of thing that happens in revolution. The elites get replaced by new people who eventually become the elites. So, I won't fucking tell you again. Oi! Podcast. Sorry. Jesus, fishing on a day like this, I wouldn't rather not. Anyway, sorry about this. I don't know why I bother with these walk talks anymore. I really don't. It frustrates me more than it probably frustrates you. It's not her fault. It's just there's so many people around today. It's quite surprising, actually. Right, let me get back on course. Sorry. So revolution is normally cultural revolution. It's a bit different, but admittedly, but I saw it as both. Yeah, because a lot of people are living their life digitally online. They're assassinating people online. The Twitter trials, if you remember, ways of cancelling people's careers, communist way of cancelling people's careers. It was a bit like, so people often say, including me, history repeats itself. It's better to say that history rhymes. History rhymes. Because the Twitter trials, the Me Too's and all that stuff, they were kind of like test cases, but they were also the modern day equivalent of what used to happen in Russia. So people were losing their jobs and basically almost digitally hung before even given the due process of law. Just a word. Any dissidents on Twitter at that time would be silenced and muted. So history echoes, it rhymes. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. But if you look at the world we're in at the moment, you see world wars on the horizon, you can see civil wars on the horizon, but the revolution, and so I say revolution, not with a hey revolutionist hat on, more that it's becoming inevitable. So the cultural revolution, we might have actually had a chance of beginning to win, because people have had enough of woke. People have had enough of the MSM. People have had enough narratives. People really are sick of it. I was talking to Vin, I'm going to maybe do a video at some point showing you the shorts on YouTube now. 80% of them around certain events are either AI or not AI at all, but still complete and utter bollocks. Just clips put together with a voiceover over it, and you're meant to believe the narrative. No checks, no balances, nothing. And it's just utter made up shit, because they know, like, I'll give you for instance, Jake Paul just fought. In the run up to the fight, lots of headlines, there's a surge of traffic that happens on the internet when this goes on. People trying to get information, people trying to get inside information, stuff like that. It used to happen with Tommy on my other channel, a surge. You would have to catch that wave. These people have become very adept at doing that. The only problem is they're catching the wave, and unlike me who used to produce content about the topic, these people are producing content about the topic that's complete fantasy. Whether it's using AI, whether it's using cut clips, or whether it's just showing whether it's just showing some random clips and then putting a narrative above it. And they're passing off as news because they've got 2 minutes to put it in. People are just doom scrolling. Anyway, I'm getting off the revolution part, but it's just... Anyway, let's get back to where I was. So I truly believe that I said, and I quoted in many interviews I did, I asked a lot of people, do you think we're having a cultural and possibly more revolution? And even my closest friends, like they didn't embarrass me, or, you know, they were like, don't know about that one. So there was no dismissal of me or no disrespect. I don't mean it like that. But I wonder now, if I was to ask all of them now, I wonder what they would think now, knowing that the main parties in this country, unless they can hold on, will be replaced. The elites around the world are being outed, shamed. Hollywood, as much as they're trying to hide the Epstein stuff, they're now breaking the law to do it. Hollywood is outed as a paedophile ring. Everybody knows it now. And they can't put the genie back in the bottle. Lots of elites around the world are being outed for what we already knew that they were. The royal family. All of the elites are being outed. Don't get me wrong, they're not being outed by good guys, they're being outed by other people that want power. Nevertheless, this is what happens during revolutions. The old elites get removed from Caesar to now. There's just different methods of doing it. And the Cultural Revolution part, I think's happened because even though woke may not have taken over, it's certainly infected parts of us. It's certainly group politics developed in a smaller scale on the right. Identity politics, I should say. It's definitely oh, my feelings are hurt. You can't do that video. That's bad doing that video. We never used to be like that. We used to be pure free speeches. Do you know what I mean? And again, not a complaint, but we've changed. They've tried, they've tried to pull us all left. We've moved a little. People won't want to admit it. They won't want to admit it. But they've policed their own speech because we have to look on here. Because we have to on here. We've moved. We've complied a little bit. Probably because we knew we had no choice, but nevertheless we've complied a little bit. And that's getting off the case again. But like I say, Charlie and all his monarchs, they are on the brink. The big political parties are on the brink. Islam's rising. You've got new gods rising. You've got old gods trying to recapture former glory. So there's another potential revolution there. And wouldn't that be an irony that atheism has been the fastest growing non-belief in this country for years, and for it to end in a cascade of two religions? Not that I'm saying good, bad, indifferent. I'm just saying, well, bad would be Islam winning, and still the populace, for the most part, sleeps. That's the part that's hard to take in. When I started this, I've seen the left and all that, and I used to think they were misguided, didn't know what they were doing, and maybe those ones back then really didn't, because they were a lot more innocent. People that we're dealing with now don't seem to have any scruples about certain things. They don't care about people dying. They don't care about murder. They support murderers. They're a different breed. And don't get me wrong, when I was young, yeah, like anybody, I didn't have much of a grasp of death either. But I didn't go around celebrating it. Excuse me, got bits of the forest in my mouth. So I wonder if those people would think back now and think maybe there was a cultural revolution going on. Maybe we are in the middle of a revolution, as well as world wars and everything else that's going on. I truly believe that. Whether it's a successful revolution for whoever wins. And by the way, that doesn't mean good things for us, necessarily, because the left could win, the far left could win that revolution. The Islamists could win that revolution, So it's not, that's what I'm saying. It's not just two parties here, but unbelievable. But it does seem like, it does seem to me like we are, as much as we talk about civil war, we talk about all these other things, we're also right in the middle, and we have been for a while, of a cultural revolution that's now turned physical, actualized revolution as well. Both from the obvious places where you see all the Muslims standing up and everything else who are dead against the country, but also, again, look at the elites, the stuff that's come out about the elites in the last decade compared to the 100 years before. Like, it's never been quite like this. Elites shitting on elites, trying to keep their own status clean, because they all know that they've all lived in filth, they've all lived in shit, and we've all lived in filth, we've all lived in sin, and we still smell cleaner than the shit they're in. And that's the thing. They know what they're covered in. So they're in the death throes now of trying to save their spots. They're losing them. And many people have said, oh, Hollywood and these people and those people and these people run the world. Well, if you're right, they're about to lose that power. They're about to lose that. I say about to. How long this takes, I don't know. And it's not a case that they won either. Just because a revolution is happening doesn't mean it's successful. But something's happened, very big, very major, that people aren't noticing. Like I said, I noticed it way back when, but it was just a thing, hypothesis that you couldn't really bank on. But I look at it now and I think it's much more tangible now. It's much more tangible. We have changed. Even the people on the right, we've changed. I mean, you change with the times, but we've changed. Some of their bullshit's got through to us, even if it be on a subconscious level. And just to censor it, I think probably more the censorship that we've gone through and the hatred and shit like that. I think some of it hits home, and some of it curbs you. Even if you're like me, determined not to be shaken from the road that you're on, you don't realise sometimes, perhaps when you're stepping carefully. Because the moment we did that with COVID, the moment they started banning our videos for mentioning the word COVID, the moment we started backing from there was the biggest mistake that we made. Because that was, once you start backing down once, do you know what I mean? Comes a habit. That was the biggest mistake we ever made. We should have all keep getting banned over and over and over again until they had either no users left or they relented. But we didn't think like that. We didn't have the time. It was a confusing time. Hindsight's 2020, but allowing them to do that to us was a big danger. Because even now, if I say COVID now on my streams, a little alarm bell goes off in my head. Oh, you said that word. It shouldn't be like that. That's not good. That means psychologically I've been changed for life by censorship on YouTube. That's crazy. That's crazy. And most people wouldn't even admit to that because their pride would be too high. But the only way you grow and learn is by where you've been got. They got me. Maybe not in a big, tangible way that you guys would all notice, but just in the fact that alarm bell rang, just for a second, it still did something. Now imagine if I'm someone like me, and I do not like being told what to do. If there's someone like me who has a little alarm bell ringing, and I will not follow the rules, imagine all those mask huggers, what they'll be like. Jesus. You know, I'm thinking about the people wearing masks and still tutting at people on trains to this day in 2025. Still sitting on trains with their masks on, looking at everybody like they're walking dead. It's another kind of cultural revolution going on. It's like this split between people has become over anything now. There was a Star Trek episode, Deep Space Nine I think it was, where there was this alien race that one of them wore the colour red and one of them wore the colour blue or something like that. And they were fighting over these colours. And then the people that tried to help them tried to say to them, look, you're both the same species. Look, if I put that t-shirt on you and I put that t-shirt on you, look what happens. And then they started fighting each other again. And that's what we've been turned into. That's when you know you've been used, you've been puppeteered. When we're all at each other's throats for ridiculous reasons. And like myself, Vin and others have tried to tell you about the fake news that's out there. And I think the reason that I've perceived that you don't care is because maybe you thought I've been talking about particular influencers, and I've realised that perhaps I need to show you what I mean, like the Jake Paul videos. There's thousands of them. Thousands of them. So if you go on YouTube Shorts at the moment, I guarantee you it's not about just AI, because AI's not the only way to con people. In fact, it's the worst way to con people right now, because most people don't know how to use it. Most people get out of AI what they put in, which is random text, and it turns into, you see Richard Inman put an AI image up, and it looks kind of cool, like a painting, yeah? But you could definitely tell it was one of his first ever tries on AI, because that's how it comes out, random. He didn't really expect it to come out like that, I guarantee he didn't. And he was quite surprised at the results. Which, if you look at it a little bit more closely, you'll notice that all the combatants in the video don't actually hit each other because of the restrictions of current AI, or at least current cloud-based AI. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to keep talking about the AI stuff, but Yeah, so it's been held back. But splicing of videos, voiceovers, and fake voices, these are where they're getting you on the shorts. That's where they're really getting you. So unlike me, who would make an Owen Jones animation and make it so obvious it's satire, no, these aren't. These are videos trying to convince you of. So what I've seen so far, bear in mind Anthony Joshua went to Nigeria and then had the crash. What I've seen since the fight was things like Jake Paul with a genuine swollen face and people calling it AI. It was the only real post on there. And then other ones where it shows Jake Paul running around the ring with so fake. It was completely fake, and yet 40,000 people upvoted and believed it. It was absolutely so fake. After 5 seconds, I knew what I was watching. I couldn't believe 40,000 people didn't. I thought it was, and I knew from the comments. It wasn't that they liked the attempt. The comments, they were all fired up, and one where AJ visits Jake Paul in hospital, never happened. One where Jake Paul's suing Anthony Joshua for not sticking to the script, not happening, lies. One where they're showing you the signals between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul in the ring, where it's scripted. All right, now I won't deny to you that some of the other fights look scripted. I was the first one saying it. But that fight was not scripted. Jake Paul was fucking terrified. Or do you think he kept grabbing his legs? He did not want to get hit. He was terrified. There's no way that fight was scripted. The guy's jaw was broken in 2 places. You don't script that. You don't even try. And as I've told people before, I keep trying to get it through to people. You don't fix fights by telling both people. You fix fights by telling one person to go down and you don't tell the other person anything. Plausible deniability, plus the other person has a natural reaction to winning, and it's the way things are done. If they want to fix a match, they tell one person, they don't tell 2. So this idea that they have script leaks and everything else is ridiculous. There's only one valid criticism that's come out, and that is that Netflix like to drag out their entertainment, turn a 1-episode series into a 6-season arc. You know, yeah, that's true. So yeah, maybe they wanted it dragged out a little bit, but that's the only argument you can make. But honestly, these videos are so badly made. But because they're 2 minutes, if you're doom scrolling, a lot of people are just taking it as gospel. And I'll tell you what, they honestly are. Because I did stop. I did check the likes versus dislikes, comments. People were believing every fucking word of it. And it was honestly 80% bullshit. And Jake Paul is just one example. He's the most viral example at the moment. But there are so many different subjects on there. He was just the dominating one at the moment because he's the dominating headline. There's so many others on there just like it. Like I say, AI was part of it, definitely. But again, just cleverly cut clips. Normal images with fake voiceovers on. And so many people believe them. I couldn't understand why people were being so defensive over AI. It's like, why are you worried about this thing that couldn't possibly fool you? Because they're being fooled. They're being fooled. And I don't know why. I don't know why they're being fooled. Like, yeah. This is why I think shorts and stuff like that, while they've become very popular, it means that people can watch more of the creators they want to watch. I get it. They get to fit more stuff in. It means there's no accountability for facts. There's no accountability for anything. Shorts have become a toxic wasteland. I mean, look how toxic TikTok is. It's the toxic wasteland of lies. And yet people will skip through those shorts. There might be 1 or 2 interesting ones on there. I found some shorts that I watch. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and lie. There's shorts that I watch, but they're usually stupid experiments and stuff like that. You've seen the ones I'm talking about. But yeah, these other ones, they're just non-stop. And that's the other thing. So there's another, when I say a cultural revolution, so the MSM is losing its ground, although I think it will gain it again. The talent that goes into music industry and stuff like that was always controlled from the top down. Now it's coming from the ground up again. There's so much changing. Where people consume their media and their news is now so multispectral as to change the very dynamic of the way news is delivered and everything else and what's believed. And this is why I said going into this post-truth age, You need to be really discerning, because people are disbelieving science, they're disbelieving everything they've ever been taught. I understand why. But they're believing everything that's being said on here. Half the stuff that's being said on here now is, don't forget, the mainstream media have been watching this space for a long time, they're here now. And they will say whatever they need to get headlines. I'll give you, for instance, there's another one. And these are the things I was going to talk to you about in the video I was going to make for you, but what the hell, I'm never going to get around to making it. So, the fireworks on Christmas, New Year's Eve. MSM have got a news page on Windows, I'm sure you know. And then they use different sources, and they used, I think it was the Mirror. And it wasn't the Mirror's fault, by the way. It was not the Mirror's fault. MSM had quoted the Mirror saying, New Year's Eve fireworks displays around the world being cancelled due to terrorist attacks. Or potential terrorist attacks. That was the headline. And if you just read the headline, you'd be like, holy shit, I'll make a video about this. Yeah, they're cancelling it all around the world. This is what people do. This is literally what people do. They'll see a headline like that and they go, I'll make a video about this. This is disgusting. I had a look at the headline, then I had a look at the article. And in the article, it talked about one being called off for bad weather. One was called off in the aftermath of the tragedy on Bondi Beach. So it was to do with sensitivity. Yeah, and there was none on there, not one single one that was caused, that was pulled due to an impending terrorist attack. But that's exactly what the headline said. And this is, and all right, that was the Mirror. I don't want to name them because I'll get called divisive. But there are people who I've never mentioned on my channel before, but you've probably seen them. If you've subscribed to the same channels as me, you're in this movement, you've probably seen them. Reasonably big channels, not as big as, say, I don't know, not as big as Paul Thorpe's, or halfway in between. But reasonably big channels, but they are every day saying Starmer's out, Starmer's leaving, and they've been doing this since the day that he got in. And some of them are saying some quite almost dangerous stuff, and it's just constant bullshit propaganda from our side, and it's clickbaiting. And this is the thing, is that I get what they're doing. They're making money. They're making money, and they become reliant on YouTube to make their money. And if that is their, and I understand it, if they want to make money off YouTube doing videos rather than lifting bricks, I get it. I fucking get it. But the problem is, keep it away from the fucking politics, man. Keep it away from, because we're having the fucking fight of our lives at the moment. And the last thing we need is for people to believe that Starmer's out, so therefore no more pressure required. Or that a new law's being brought in that isn't, that causes us to fucking riot. Or you know, these people that are showing a kid getting his head kicked in by Muslims that's 3 years old. Sue, come on, Sue! Don't you fucking dare. Come on, girl, you know better. Good girl. Yeah, you know, I could go on and on, but I think point made. A quick look through here, and then I've got to go. I wasn't really planning to come on today. I don't know when I'm going to be on, when I'm going to be off. I'm feeling a little bit, whatever, it doesn't matter how I'm feeling. But yeah, I sat down to work on Gene and to work on a podcast last night at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I fell asleep on the computer. So I figured maybe it was time to just take a break. Because yeah, Gene had a lot of J's and entered into her code where I'd fallen asleep on the keyboard. I think it was the keyboard that woke me up, the beep, 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 because it exceeded its character limit. So, yeah, so I'm going to see what I can do. Let me go see if I've got any comments anyway, see if anyone's got on today. Oh, we have managed to get on today, that's good. I don't think you would. Afternoon Spawn, hope you're alright. But personally think 2026 is going to be worse than 2025 as far as the political stage is concerned. Don't take this the wrong way, but I think that's self-evident, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I've been saying, I think first 3 months, I mean, I said to you we could even have something New Year's Eve. We did have some things New Year's Eve, but I don't feel brave enough to speak about them at the moment because I don't know the exact stories and I don't want to fuck them up, and I don't like not speaking the truth exactly. But I truly believe, that was something I saw last night. I've saved it. I'll have a look when I get home. I've saved it for you guys because it made me think that could be the big thing. I said something in the first 3 months. I really believe there's a possibility something happens in the first 3 months of this year that really sets the tone, whether it's from the government, whether it's an attack. In fact, it was something Starmer come out with. Oh shit! Again, I've got it saved at home. I'm not going to botch it because it was quite important, so I've got it saved at home. But do you know what? As much as he is horrible to even look at, you should keep an eye on his Twitter posts and that. Every day, he or whoever does his post for him is just churning out bollocks. I mean, if we were in I'll tell you what, I've had a fucking enough. You wouldn't normally do this, would you? So don't fucking do it when I'm on air. Every time I'm on air, I'm allowed to do this. You're getting a decent walk. You're getting a decent walk. If it was open, I'd let you go, but it's not. Come on. Come with me. Come with me. Just chill, yeah? Chill. Sorry, guys. Chill, Sue. Enjoy it while it's here. That's one thing she doesn't do at times. She forgets to enjoy herself where she's at. And sometimes she'll suddenly click and go, oh yeah, I see what you mean. I can rather wander around, take me time. And then she gets into it. It's like she doesn't realise, do you? Yeah, now she's got it. Yeah, she's clicked again now. Now she's like, oh, all right, I'm in the bushes. Yeah. That's better. Sometimes I think she thinks we're in a rush to get somewhere. It's like, we're not. We're out because of you Wally. Anyway, sorry, let me try and... Hey, Dave, Steve, anybody else that's on that I've missed? Crazy girl. Hey, crazy girl. Interesting watching the persons take around. Yes, I thought it was just from 8% still watch MSM. Well, I've lost it again. I hate this. I'll tell you what, I need an alternative to this because this is doing my head in now. Keep losing the comments. I'll tell you what though, 80% still watch the MSM, Steve, but still watching it isn't the same as believing it. It's like, and this is what annoys me about people. It's like a lot of the people that watch the MSM also watch this. There's much overlap, and I know this for a fact. And that's what frustrates me the most. Is that a lot of people, they talk about the silent majority. There's a lot of people out there that know what they're paying for and what they're watching is shite, but because they like the soaps or whatever, they're part of it anyway. And that's fine. Whatever, you watch what you want. That's freedom. But it's the fact that they won't get involved in the arguments that matter. That's what pisses me off, you know? Because there's a lot of those people that aren't brainwashed who are watching the MSM. Or at least on certain days they're not, you know, they're fighting with themselves. But yeah, I wouldn't say like, just because 80% are watching the MSM, that all 80% are totally brainwashed. I wouldn't like to guess what percentage of it is. You know, because I don't know. I truly don't know. But there's definitely overlap. A lot of people I know watch MSM will talk about podcasts that I thought only I watched. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you know. But I couldn't guess to you what the percentage is. I couldn't guess at all. The long con, which is exactly what it was. Yeah, I agree with that. So you're talking about half white, half black. I just an interesting story about that. So I'm going to come. Do you mind if I come back to these comments and look at the last ones? Because this thing is driving me crazy. Keep jumping. Interesting story about Star Trek, actually, about one of the actors in it. LeVar Burton, who played Geordie LaForge. If you don't know, that is the one that we had the eye visor thing on, or the hairband, as we used to call it. Black guy, if you don't know, he always seemed, even out of even in interviews, like he was a real forward-thinking, progressive kind of man. And I always really loved the guy. And one day I saw him in this interview, not only a few years back, but 3 years ago, my guess, maybe 2. And he was looking for his ancestry because, like many people in America, he wanted to find out what his ancestors had been through slavery and everything else, what they'd suffered, what their story was, like many black Americans were doing at that time. And so he got this team to do some digging for him, metaphorically. And when they came back to him with the results, it was very eye-opening to me. And I don't have a conclusion on this. I still haven't reached a conclusion on this. I'm just telling you about it because I found it quite shocking. His reaction was visceral. Because what they found out was, you come from white family. Oh, from white families. So, yeah, your mum's black. But before that, it was like, I don't know. If you trace his family back far enough, everybody's white. And then there's one black person in the family tree, then 2 black people in the family tree, and so on. But it was a constant mixture of white and black, and goes back, and during the slave period, white. That's the point. And so his imagined journey of slavery to where he was now didn't happen. And he openly said to the guy that had revealed all this to him on camera, if you had told me all this without the proof, I would have attacked you. I would have physically attacked you. This is Geordie LaForge. This is LeVar Burton. This is one of the nicest people on that set, saying he would have physically attacked someone for suggesting that his ancestors could be white. I mean, this is a well-known thing amongst slaves, that many black people don't come from slave stock. They come from post, or they do, but there's a lot more. It's a lot more intricate. Same as white people. A lot of people think in America think they're absolutely white, and they actually come from black stock. So there's a lot of misunderstanding. But yeah, the fact that he meant it. I would have physically attacked you if you didn't have the evidence. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? Why would you have physically attacked him for suggesting that your ancestors could have been white? How does that affect you on a personal level? Like this, So, and I haven't come to a conclusion about what to think about that, because I know what would have happened if a white person had said what he'd said. They'd never be on television again. They'd never be interviewed again, would they? Which is something I've only just thought about, but they wouldn't, would they? I just realised they wouldn't. So I don't really know how to process what I saw that day, But I also understand it may have been shocking for him because he's lived with a cultural truth that, for him, it may be true for many of his countrymen, but for him, it doesn't exist. So that's, yeah. Yeah, LeVar, the white boy, yeah. I used to love The Next Generation. Yeah, so what? It was socialist, whatever. I think the difference is, you watch Star Trek these days and Star Trek back then. Star Trek back then, it was natural. It was just it was just the stories, and they used to write. A lot of their stories were based on 1984, other great works of literature. So a lot of the episodes was really just about other people's work. They were just plagiarising for a lot of the episodes I saw, but in their own way, to make it accessible to an audience that might not normally have read this shit. And it was quite a clever idea, really. And so nothing felt wedged in to The Next Generation. The political messaging and everything else, nothing felt wedged. Whereas if you watch Star Trek in the last 10 years, that's all it is. It's just one big political message with everything wedged in. Transsexual, transgender. What was at the end of a season of Star Trek that had not mentioned sexuality in it once, except for going on about everybody being gay, so it actually had. They had to have an androgynous person at the end of it, say outwardly, just so they could get it in there before the end of the series. It had not been hinted at, not been talked about, wasn't part of the story. It was just thrown in at the end to get it in. Same as Picard, when they brought Picard out. First 2 seasons were Patrick Stewart and the other people masturbating over their own wokeness. And they managed to kill off an entire fan base. Managed to kill off an entire fan base. But then again, nowhere near as good as what Star Wars have done, managing to alienate 90% of the people that watch them, and to try and attract women instead, and attracting 0 women to their cause, because women like the original same as the men did, the ones that did watch it. So they managed to chase away all the audience. Now they're scrambling to try and get them back after what has been. When did they buy Star Wars? Was it 2014 or 2012? Something like that. They've had plenty of time, and they've had plenty of time, unfortunately, to murder it. So, beep. But I'll tell you what. There's a story today talking about cultural. Whatever. There's a story out today. You know, the game. Every industry's been under attack for years. So I used to watch a guy called Comic Artist Pro Secrets on YouTube, because he was a comic artist. Surprise, surprise. And he'd left the comic industry because of how woke it had got, and just like masculine cartoons and stuff like that weren't allowed anymore. And the same for a lot of the industries. Now, many of you knew probably that the computer games industry was getting infiltrated, but up to now, I mean, they've still had Rockstar Games bringing out some crazy games with some crazy scenes in. I went to access my Steam games the other night. Oh, you need to produce a credit card in order to access your own shit now, to prove your age. Credit card, has to be a credit card to prove your own age. So I noticed in my library that has appeared for me now. But there's an argument going on between BioWare, if you know who that is, you do, and if you don't, you don't. But they're a massive games company, and EA. I think EA is the biggest games publisher on the planet, and BioWare are telling EA they have to push their LGBT plus message, or else. And EA are the publishers, and we're like, motherfuckers, we publish you. We make you the money. No, we're not. And there's a huge argument breaking out, massive argument that will probably change the face of the games industry. And if these people lose as well, like all the rest of the industries did, that's it. We're done. There is no other entertainment industry left to conquer. And lauded companies like Rockstar and that will cease to be in their current iterations and that. So it's one of the very last real entertainment industries that they were already infecting. But now there's massive arguments going. I mean, EA and BioWare, they're 2 of the biggest. I mean, EA is the biggest name. I've never really liked EA because they're the company responsible for creating a soccer game called FIFA that they would just re-churn out every 6 months to a year, and they have been doing that since the 90s. And they made a game into something that I can't even say the name of it anymore without wanting to puke. It just every year, just recycled the same old shit. They turned 3 separate really good driving games into one and ruined 3 separate franchises, you know? So, anyway. So, yeah, baby, cultural revolution, or revolution, is usually when the elites are replaced by other people. Look at what's happening. There's so much. You've got revolution, you've got world war, you've got civil war. Take your pick of disasters, ladies and gentlemen. Take your pick. But I think at the same time, I think we all know that whatever happens going forwards, something's got to change. We can't carry on the road we're on. You're a slave or not a slave? Wow. Yeah, exactly. So, and this is the other thing that a lot of people who were black and had the knowledge on this stuff told me, was that a lot of people go into these African countries thinking they're heroes and thinking that they're taking money back to the motherland and being treated like heroes. And what a lot of black people have told me is they're not. Black people, and I've seen video footage to prove this, black people in Africa consider black people in other parts of the world to be I can't say the word on here, but yeah, the N word, but reverse way round, yeah? As in, they see them as white people, but the bad word for it. And they would murder them in their bed and take their money as opposed to live alongside them. This is a well-known thing that I never knew anything about. It's black people that have had to educate me and say, yeah, there's a lot of black people that actually think they're loved. They're not, they're hated. And I was like, bullshit, you know? And they're like, no. And they would show me this stuff. And it's like, wow, there's more interracial racism going on than there is, like, you know, the racism the left goes after that they claim exists and doesn't. There's so much more interracial racism going on. It's really bad. I remember being with Danny Roscoe, and we were outside court. I was waiting to interview Tommy. He was there doing his job, and this group of Muslims was there, and they tried to sort of, you know, give Tommy some shit. And then we ended up talking about the age of consent, and that was the ones where the Muslim uncovered his face and said whenever they get pubic hair and all that stuff. But they particularly tried to corner Danny and tried to use his colour and ethnicity to suggest to him, why are you still slaving around after the white man, even though Islam hates black people. And it's just, and you could hear the words they were using, certain words that they knew that Danny might understand and they thought that we wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Just certain words being used, and there's just so much more interracial stuff going on than many of us are aware of. A lot of us, like people like me, are quite racially dumb to the slurs and to the things that different races think about each other. So like, I'm still in early learning stage about all that. Farscape, yeah, I got into Farscape. It took me a few tries because the first season I found hard work, but once I got into it, it was good. But for me, the most visceral one, even though it's not the most best looking one, the most visceral one was always Babylon 5. I always felt, and it was a story that was pre-written. I think that's why it worked, because the whole story was written out first. And that's not, you know how rare that is, but the whole story was written out first, and I think that's why that one hit home for me. Yeah, Scorpius was good, but it took a little while getting over him looking like a gimp. Didn't it? Do you know what I mean? Expect him to, but I better not say that, right? But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to catch up with some of your a morality play and then an immorality play. Ooh. And repeat. Some good sci-fi writers, though. Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say that's true. Oh, I keep losing it. See what I mean? There's got to be a way of fixing this chat still. I'm going to have a look into that, actually. Maybe that's what those... Remember that? Do you remember that thing I had up on here the other day? That's a widget. Maybe if I turn this chat off and put that widget back on, it might actually help. I'm going to try that next time. Right, guys, I'm feeling a little bit shaky. I think I might need something to eat. So I'm going to get off of here. Anything I've missed, I'm going to come back and have a look at. But it's great to see you all. Happy New Year again for last time. We will get on with things. But yeah, take a look at these things around you, because I do think, again, look at the elites. Look at what's being done to the elites. I mean, yeah. I mean, we haven't gotten to the Epstein files yet, but they're desperately trying to cover them up, and they're beginning to fail. Although it's taking a long time. It's like they're letting these people get old before they. I don't know, but they're failing. The elites are being exposed all the time. Who trusts Hollywood anymore? Hollywood, the place that lectured us all for years, 100 years of telling us, showing us what we should think and feel and everything else. They got no power anymore. They got they got the news, but what I mean is they then got the power of the people's belief. Like Steve says, the MSM have unfortunately still got control over too many people. But Hollywood, I think, as a culture, as a place where people look up to people, I think that's kind of dead. Yeah, and we were talking about Star Wars earlier, and they are desperately running around at the moment trying to bring out laws to stop AI, because their AI is making Star Wars better than they ever did. and people are actually enjoying the fan-made stuff far more than they've enjoyed any Lucasfilm-made stuff. So they are, and they've always encouraged fan art, but now they've gone apeshit because they realise, oh no, they're doing better than us. Oh shit, they're telling us stories that we wouldn't dare. So they are trying to close it down very, very quickly. They're panicking. Disney are literally panicking. So anyway, I've got to go. I need to go and eat some food. But catch you soon, guys. Thanks for joining me. And I will start looking to see where we're going to be getting out to next. Like I say, probably Southampton. If I'm still welcome over there, then that's where I'll be going and helping out. Just see how we go from there. And catch you soon. Tom Fury, Zero News. Calling it a day for now. All right, baby.